Hello there and welcome to a new episode of The Power of Surrender with Hugh, where every day I'm taking cards from this deck here, The Power of Surrender by Dr Judith Orloff, and chatting with you about them for your inspiration and hopefully some food for thought in a positive way in these challenging times that we're living in. Today's card is Surrender the Drama. Now, I have a little story I'm going to tell you that I think is a good example of this. But before we get into that, let me read to you what it says here on the card so we can follow along with it. It says, no matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. Now, this is not always an easy thing to do. People in our life, they could be our partners, romantic partners, it could be family members, friends, and they know how to push our buttons and they can upset us quite easily. And so it's very difficult not to react to when people push your buttons. What this card is talking about is, instead of reacting to the drama, is basically, that's the first step to resolving any situations. Do not react when provoked. That is the hardest part. I know it's something that I really struggle with when got much better at it now. I basically bite my tongue and just take like a deep breath, even if it's inside. Just not going to react to it, and because one of the things you realize when people are poking you or pushing your buttons, that generally speaking it has nothing to do with you. People tend to do that because they're afraid that you're going to somehow expose them or perhaps attack them, and so this is a defense mechanism that people do sometimes. And again, it's nothing to do with you at all. It's just them. It's the whole kind of game they have going on in their mind with life. But it's easy to talk about this like this when you're not in the middle of a situation where someone is pushing your buttons. And like I said, unfortunately, it tends to be people that we know very well who do that for us. So I'm going to read it one more time, and then I'll tell you this little story, because no matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Because what happens is, if someone pushes your buttons and you push them right back, then you escalate them, then you escalate back, and then sometimes drama can turn into physical confrontation, and it's a mess. So that's the first thing it's talking about, is don't react and don't contribute to a bad situation. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. I'm going to use this story here, a story I heard from a friend of mine a couple of days ago, that I think is absolutely perfect for this. Basically, my friend is walking with her two dogs into her apartment complex. One of the dogs that she has is a pit bull mix. I think, no offense to anyone who's a pit bull dog owner, but unfortunately pit bulls do have a reputation for being very aggressive. Although I do know personally friends who have pit bulls who would vehemently disagree, and that so their dogs are super nice, but unfortunately some pit bulls do have been involved in some violent incidents. So unfortunately, when people see pit bulls, they tend to have a negative reaction to them. And so basically, one of her dogs is a pit bull mix. She's walking to her apartment complex. Out of the elevator comes a man and his daughter. The dog that was a pit bull mix was on a leash, but went to the girl, not to attack, but just to kind of say hello. And unfortunately, the guy with the daughter, panicked, wanting to protect his daughter, and proceeded to call my friend some really unnecessary profanities. So let's just hold the situation there. So she's walking her dog. She's not doing anything wrong, right? She's not trying to create drama, right? And this guy comes out of the lift, the elevator, and he's reacting. He's out of fear, and from his point of view, this woman has a dangerous dog that's running at my animal, and so he thinks that she's irresponsible and dangerous in her behaviour. From her point of view, the dog is on a leash and is not threatening, just wants to go up and say hello. And so that's where the drama begins. Now, he then escalates the drama because he calls her, he said some really awful things to her. She then responded and said to him, "You shouldn't be cursing in front of your little girl," which, did not help the situation, if I'm being honest. Because, now it's an understandable reaction. The things that he said to her, I probably would have reacted to it as well. I get it. In the heat of the moment, it's very difficult not to. The best thing to do in that situation would probably be to say nothing. Let him do his thing and all the rest of it. And then at another moment when he's not emotionally charged, go to the guy's house, knock on the door and say, "Hello, sir, I see that you got a fright the other day when my dog was there. Just wanted to come up and say I'm sorry if that was not my intention to give you a fright, but just so you understand, this dog was not going towards your daughter in a threatening manner. They were on a leash. The dog was on a leash. Sorry that you were upset, but that was not my intention." Now, maybe he slams the door in her face and there's nothing that she can do, and that happens in life. However, now what's happened is she has escalated it even further and is basically looking, as she put it to me, for him to get his. Do you see where I'm going with the story? It's the cycle, my friends. It's the cycle of drama. And this is not a judgmental comment on my friend. If my friend is watching this episode, I'm sure she'll understand why I'm telling it, because I'm not, that for me is not the way to resolve the situation. She asked me to do a reading for her about this particular situation, which I did. And the reading for it was absolutely crystal clear. It was like, extract yourself from the drama, do not involve yourself in the drama. It was, think about what part did you play in to create this drama. So I've spent a lot of time talking about this little story here, but the point of the story is, it could be a guy comes home from work. He's really tired. He walks in the door and his wife or his partner just starts attacking him. "Why are you late? Blah, 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 blah." And she may be just frustrated because of something else in her life, but she's taking it out on him. And then he's tired. He walks in the door going, "What the hell are you talking to me like that for?" You see, and it escalates and goes, "You just don't care what I feel. Why are you attacking me?" And you see, and it goes back and forth, and it can escalate, and then it becomes ugly. So the point of this card, the point of me telling the story is, we have to at a certain point say, especially if we've been involved in a drama situation, to be able to step back after and say, okay, what did I do to contribute to the situation? Because it's so easy to go, well, they were wrong and they're always wrong and they said this and they did this, but instead of going with the having to be right situation, going with the, okay, let's just think about it now when I'm not in the middle of it. What exactly happened and what did I do to contribute to it? Because then what I was trying to say to my friend was, look, if you go back to this guy and you try and explain to him, say, look, I understand that you got a fright from the dog, but just so you understand, the dog was on a leash, the dog was not going to attack your daughter, my dog has never been involved in any kind of violent attacks. trying to be reasonable about it. Now, as I said to you earlier, I fully appreciate that you can try to be reasonable with people and maybe there will be no reasoning with this person. However, to say to him, you shouldn't be cursing in front of your daughter, because from his point of view, she was being irresponsible with the dog. And then the woman who's irresponsible with the dog then talks to him about being irresponsible, cursing in front of his daughter. And that escalated the situation even further. So now she's out on a mission to get, so he can get revenge essentially, because he shouted at her and misspoke her, and it was uncalled for, the things that he said, absolutely agreed. But the point is the drama is just, there's fuel to the fire, and it just goes on and on and on. How do you rectify this? Because this is a place where she lives. She's going to bump into this person on an ongoing basis. She likes living there. She doesn't want to move. And why would she move? But here's the situation where it starts to escalate. And if she's looking to get, back at him, that means she's not looking to resolve the situation. And then if she does things to antagonize him, he's going to do more things to antagonize her. And the situation is just going to continue to go out of control. So the point I'm trying to make to you is, with this card here, it is a challenging thing to do, not to react when people push your buttons. Very challenging thing to do. But this card is challenging us to surrender the drama. Say, I'm not doing it anymore. When people have a go at you or say provocative things to you to wind you up or whatever, you just don't react. Just don't do anything. Or you say, I really don't appreciate when you say stuff like that to me. It's really unhelpful. It doesn't reflect well on you, or maybe you wouldn't want to say that, maybe that's too much, but just say, look, that's not really helpful right now. That's not really helping anybody, so I'm not taking part. And I know people, if I've said that to them, they will goad you even more. And that's the point where perhaps you also need to ask yourself, some of the people you're surrounding yourself with, because if people are doing that on an ongoing basis, that's an unhealthy situation. It's not helpful to you. But as a general thing, I'm just making that suggestion to you to try and not engage. Don't react to it. Don't say, I know if somebody is physically attacking you, that's a different thing. Of course, you have to defend yourself. But I'm talking about if people are just verbally saying things to you. So there it is. This can be a difficult one. There's a lot of silly, pathetic dramas that are in people's lives all the time, and there's some dramas that are far more serious. But the reason for me telling you the story was just to give you an example of you've got two people, two completely different points of view. It's easy for me because I'm telling the story from the outside. But that's just a simple example of where you've got two people that have a moment, a misunderstanding, whatever you want to call it. And you have to try and find a way to backtrack with that, And basically what it is people, we all take things personally. So when that guy cursed and everything at her, really what that was is just his fear, and was trying to be protective, for his daughter. That's what was happening there. And from her point of view, why was he shouting at her? And that's disrespectful, which it is, and uncalled for, which it was. But she also has to recognize that her contribution was, it is a dog that does have a reputation, whether or not that's true in the case of her dog, and her comments to him were unhelpful in the situation and escalated it further. And now she's in the mode of, I want to get back at him and for disrespecting me. And I've said my part to my friend about it, and we all have to make our own choices and we learn our own lessons. But I just think it's a really good example of this and how we can get sucked into this drama, because this has turned into a big event now in her life, and making her consider or reconsider where she's living. That seems like a lot for a situation like this that could be potentially and possibly resolved. I could talk about this all night, give so many different examples of it. I hope that you got some inspiration and definitely some food for thought from this episode. And I will be back tomorrow. And also remember, I have daily cards with Hugh on Instagram at Hugh Readings. Please go to my page there and you'll see my daily readings. Have a great rest of your day. Boom.